Hello, everybody. My name is CH, and I'll be your host. Of course, crypto is going through a bear market, and we wanted to talk to somebody who has immense experience on how to navigate this market and the problems that arise in the current crypto market and how to address them. Joining me today is Nelson from Lightnode Media. They are an advisory firm that specializes in marketing and products, really just how to let projects thrive in the crypto space. And this is our conversation. Enjoy. Okay, so Nelson, it is so great to have you on. Maybe to start, you can give our audience a bit of an intro of yourself and your background.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Nelson. I am CEO of Lightnode Media. Lightnode Media is an advisory firm in the crypto space. We've been around since 2018. We help companies, protocols, and projects in the crypto space, business development, partnerships, strategy, integrations, really helping them through the various phases of growth and development that they go through. And a little background on myself, I got into crypto in 2014 as a sophomore in college. I read a Reddit post back in 2013 about a digital asset that went to $1,000 and got very interested in trying to figure out what this asset was and why people were paying $1,000 to get it. Ended up doing some research, found out that there were only going to be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. And immediately I knew that this was going to be massive, that if people were willing to pay $1,000 for a very scarce asset, that it would most likely be worth 100,000 plus in a few years. So that's what got me into crypto. I started investing and trading very heavily, mostly investing because trading during that time was basically dead. The 2014 to 2017 bear market was very rough. There was barely any volatility. The crypto space in itself was basically dead. I started investing in the market, and then 2017, there was an ICO boom, and that's when the market just went crazy. And so my assets that I invested in did quite well. But in order to get into a lot of these ICOs, you had to basically be able to provide some sort of value besides money. And the only thing that I had to offer these projects was money. So that's where I really realized that I had to come out in terms of really get involved in the space and really try to figure out how do I build value so that these projects can not only give me an allocation, but so that they actually see me as a worthwhile participant and supporter of their project. So that's where I ended up really trying to figure out how to build a team, how to get involved in the space, and really trying to figure out what the value add that I had was. And then I ended up joining Lightnode Media in 2019 as we were pivoting from being a mainly events company into building out a marketing agency, because obviously during COVID, there were no events that were happening. So we've now transitioned. We still do events, we still do marketing, but we've mainly transitioned into a larger focus on advisory for the last year and a half. So it was kind of beginning during the bull market. During the bull market, I think a lot of people are not as interested in advisory in terms of a new advisory firm, because obviously we were a new advisory firm. A lot of people, it's easy for them to fundraise. It's easier for them to kind of build the hype, get their asset price to kind of really skyrocket. So it was a challenging time for us to really get people to believe in us, because we did have a very strong network. We still do, and we had a really strong value adds, but most projects didn't really need our help. Now, because we're in a bear market, the help is significant, and even projects that have raised a lot of money, that have gotten a lot of traction, are really struggling right now. So this is, I think, a great time, both as an investor and trader, to really start getting in, start investing in the space, start getting to know what assets might be taking off in the next few years. And then as an advisory firm is really positioning ourselves to support projects, companies and protocols that will be best positioned for the growth that we're going to see in the coming years.
That's very, very cool. I think to just maybe touch on when you first got into crypto, I think it's pretty amazing. You had the foresight in 2014 upon just reading about Bitcoin, really understanding its value proposition. I know for myself, even after my initial rabbit hole into learning about Bitcoin, it took me a little while to really understand the massive impact this asset class has on our existing society. So huge kudos to you, props to you, amazing to hear. In terms of what you guys do as an advisory firm, could you maybe elaborate on the kind of services you do provide? Like what are some of the things that you can help with projects, maybe just to provide some more detail for our viewers who don't really know what you do?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the builders in the space are mostly Web 2 builders. So they're very well versed in building, shipping product, and really building out companies, hiring teams. But the crypto space is very complex. There's a lot of hype, a lot of different trends. Something that might have worked this month might not even be existing 2 months from now. So there's a lot of learning as you go that needs to happen for a lot of these founders and builders. And our advisory firm, having been in the space for so long, we're able to see the pitfalls, we're able to see the successes, we're able to see what has worked in the past, and then also see the opportunities that exist in the crypto space. So with that in mind, because we've been an events firm since 2018, we've done a lot of investor dinners, we've done conferences, we've done receptions, we've done all types of events. And this has allowed us to build very strong and deep connections and relationships with a lot of the decision makers, whether it's people that started protocols, people that started projects, funds, as well as people that used to be analysts and now they have their own companies. So really, obviously, as the space continues to grow significantly, a lot of the people that we've built relationships with end up being very powerful decision makers. And so that enables us and those relationships that have been built to push things forward, whether it's on the partnership side, because really, like in everything, it's all about who you know. You might have a great product, you might have a great pitch, you might have a great team, but if you don't know the right people, if you don't have the connections and the relationships with them, it could be very difficult to get that momentum going. And especially in this bear market, our value add is connecting the dots when it comes to the clients that we service, making sure that they have the right pitch, they have the right pitch deck. And then on top of that is just overall having a lot of crypto expertise where strategically we could help them with the go-to-market. I think a lot of projects in the space have no idea kind of where to go in terms of how to build traction, how to build users. And a lot of them just end up copying what everybody else does, which just, it doesn't really work. Sometimes it works in a bull market, but in a bear market, you have to be extremely strategic. You have to be very lean and be very focused on delivering results, whether it's for the next fundraise or just building traction. So that kind of helps us with the fundraising, helps us with the partnerships, helps us with just overall strategy. And it's really allowing the founder to continue to build, but just making sure that what they're building is something that has longevity in it, and that is actually going to accrue value and eventually really focus on bringing in revenues, because there has been a very significant lack of focus on revenues. And so that means, I think mainly in terms of revenues, is how can you attract advertisers into your platform, into your product, into your service. A lot of projects kind of ignore that. And so in order to bring in advertising revenue, you need to have a very focused demographic. It has to be very focused in terms of what the advertisers are looking for. So this has shifted the strategy and the focus that we give our clients and our projects, moving away from trying to be an international project to being a much more localized, focused project. So a lot of these projects are raising $2, $3, $4, $5 million, and they're trying to take over the world. But you can't really take over the world if you just have a very limited amount of funds. And so what you end up doing is you end up having, let's say, 100,000 users, but they're all over the world. You have some in Africa, you have some in South America, you have some in Asia, some in Europe, some in the US. And then if you were to go to an advertiser, if you were to look to build some sort of source of revenue with these users, there's really no ability to properly get advertising revenue to come in, just because it's so fragmented. So it's really moving away from trying to get as many users as possible, trying to be as international as possible, and really focusing on core markets, whether it's specific, like city specific. I think universities are going to play a very significant role when it comes to adoption, and so that's, I think, one of the big focuses is really finding the alignment and being very, very realistic about how you're going to actually get users and what market you're going to focus on.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And you're absolutely right. I think, who it's probably the most important thing, right? And it really sounds like you guys have incredible resources and a fantastic network. It really is not an easy feat to network with top dogs in any industry, right? And so in crypto, I was actually really curious. Like, do you have any stories that stand out to you as to like how you actually got to network with these people? Because you said you host these amazing fundraisers and events and dinners and things like that. I'm just curious, like, how is it that you went about? So, like, what is your strategy to then network and meet these top dogs in crypto?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I really see ourselves, my team, as underdogs. We are all minorities, and we have never taken any VC funding. So it's really been very bootstrapped operation. And as a result, it's very difficult to get into a lot of these, let's say, exclusive events, the ones where the real decision makers are, whether it's in San Francisco Blockchain Week, Consensus, Masari Mainnet. I mean, there's conferences all over the world, Singapore, Token 2049. So really for us, it's been, if we don't even have a ticket to these exclusive events, like making our way into it, finessing, like just doing what it takes to get in the door. If we have to kick through the door, we make it happen. And if it wasn't for that type of attitude, like we probably wouldn't have been able to get into a lot of these events and really build the relationships with the people that are really the ones that are kind of moving the needle. So it really takes a lot of determination. Unfortunately, in the crypto space, as lofty goals as we have in terms of banking the unbanked, it's still very high school attitude. It's still very, if you're with the popular kids, you're accepted. But if you're not, you have to really work very hard to put yourself in those positions. So I think for us, it's been being very determined to get into the rooms that we need to get into. And when we do get into the room, really building genuine relationships, allowing our energy to flow, to blossom, and being as genuine as we can in terms of supporting projects. And I think it's providing value without really expecting anything in return, which initially might mean that projects might take advantage, or people might just kind of not give it the value that it might really need. But for us, it's, as an advisory company, it's providing as much value to the ecosystem as we can, and knowing that crypto space will provide that back in return and more. So really, I think it's having faith. Having faith in the space is everything, especially with these bear markets where you can go from having a few $1 million to having like 30K in tokens, and really having faith that, one, the space is still going to exist, and then two, to start investing more money, or finding another way to be able to accumulate more assets. Having faith is something that I think is very important in the space, and we've definitely been tested many times, but we have faith in really continuing to deliver for our projects, and really building to support the massive adoption that we're going to see in the space. So I would say that definitely, I think, was a big thing that enabled us to really build a significant relationship with a lot of these decision makers. And then just being very active in terms of going to these conferences. A lot of founders do think that it's a waste of time, but it's not a waste of time. It's all about what you do with it. Now, if you want to just party and drink in these parties, well, then that's what you did. But if you want to actually build relationships, connect with people, have a good time, and also just, I think, building non-transactional relationships, really caring about the people that you're meeting, really caring about actually supporting them, maybe making intros and connections where you can, that really goes a long way to building those relationships, and then really being kind of the person that can connect the dots.
Nelson, I love that. I think you guys have a fantastic attitude. That's definitely how I would go about it as well. I'm a big fan of Alex Hormozy. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he, of course, talks about a lot about just provide, like just keep providing value and delay the ask. And then that's just going to compound. The goodwill will keep compounding, right? So I feel like that's exactly the kind of mindset you guys have as well. So very, very exciting. You guys, of course, are an advisory firm and you deal in a lot in marketing. So I was actually very curious, your thoughts in, how do you create leverage in marketing? Like, do you guys really heavily rely on social media? Are there any other kind of vehicles that you specialize in? Like, what are some of the methods and techniques that you really tell your clients to focus on in trying to bring as much value to themselves?
Yeah, I think social media definitely is very important to build the brand, to get users, to just kind of push your product out there. I think a big issue with marketing is product and just overall user onboarding, because you can have a stellar marketing campaign, you could have the best marketers in the world supporting your launch, but if it takes 10 different steps to get onboarded onto your platform, to start using your app, to start using your service, it's just not going to work. And we've definitely dealt with a lot of different clients that had significant issues on the onboarding side. And so I think this goes back to an overall issue in the crypto space that if you need to download MetaMask in order to use a specific product, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot before you even started. A lot of users are just they're not gonna download MetaMask. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to buy crypto. So I think that's very important in terms of marketing can only go so far. Like, yeah, you could build a very large following, you get good traction. But if you're trying to onboard non-crypto native users, your product has to be spot on. It has to be extremely simple, extremely easy to use. There's a few good examples of very large NFT campaigns with pretty significant brands, and they've seen almost no traction whatsoever. And these are very large notable brands that have a large physical presence, and they were unable to get the traction that they wanted. But if you look at the user onboarding, it was extremely clunky. It wasn't integrated into their whole ecosystem. And so obviously if a customer is used to, let's say, using a specific application to access whatever service they might be receiving from a specific brand, and then this specific NFT activation puts them into another website that is completely separate from that app. So the whole customer experience changes dramatically. And as a result, a lot of customers are just not going to be interested in being onboarded. But if the NFT or the crypto integration is embedded into the app, is embedded into the platform of, let's say, a big brand or a retail store, now they're going to be more willing to, let's say, collect NFTs. And so I think overall, we still have a long ways to go in terms of properly activating brands to get onboarded, because brands are willing to take the risk, but they're not willing to take the risk enough to integrate it into their experience. You could have the best marketing in the bull market, but it's like, where are the users right now? Where are the users? Like, all this millions of dollars spent, let's say, marketing a specific project or a specific protocol. Like, initially, you might have gotten really good traction. You might have gotten a lot of engagement. You might have gotten a lot of users, TVL. But when things, like, as they say, when things hit the fan, it's like, where are they? So I think in terms of, one is there's a lot of Web2 marketing firms and just marketing people in general that are coming into the space that still have to learn what the crypto ethos is. So I think there's still a lot to be desired on the marketing side, which is mainly why we've significantly reduced our exposure on the marketing side and moved more towards advisory, because we love to sign on clients for marketing, but if that product is not there, it's just going to be a waste of our time. And obviously we don't want our clients to be spending money on something that we internally know is just not really going to work out. So we've shifted significantly from focusing on marketing to really focusing on actually supporting the product to be built, so that when we do shift gears and focus on the marketing, it's going to be much easier to see that traction and to see that user growth that projects are very, very eager to kind of get.
That's great because you're absolutely right in the sense that, product over everything, right? If you have a fantastic product, you really don't even need marketing because word of mouth will just spread like wildfire for you. So it's amazing to see that you actually are very product centric, and that is your core focus over everything else. Everything else I feel like is supplementary. So fantastic way of going about things. I wanted to shift gears a little bit. Seeing that you guys have a keen sense of top trends from operating your business, of course. Could you maybe share some insights? Like, what are some big trends you see in crypto in the coming years?
I think the biggest trend that we're seeing is definitely going to be user adoption. That's going to be a really, really big focus. As I said previously, in this bear market, there's no applications right now. We can't name 5 applications in the crypto space that have more than or even 10,000 daily active users. And that's after having billions of dollars in VC funding spent in the space. I mean, I think Solana is a great example of things working out well in a bull market. You had these hackathons, amazing hacker houses, really amazing support of the ecosystem. But where did it all go? I mean, it's basically to some degree a massive failure. Now, it's not a failure totally because this is how you learn. You learn to rebuild from your mistakes, but it was on the fund side, it was a massive failure. And the only funds that were able to make significant amounts of money were the ones that were able to dump on the retail, which is not what we want to see. We want to see fund managers that are investing in the space and they're not dumping after 6 months or a year. We want them to be holding these assets for years on end, but obviously they're not going to be holding these assets if they see that this value is very short term. So in order for us to transition to more longevity focused projects, protocols, ecosystems, we need to have user growth. We need to have users that are actually being onboarded, that are actually engaging and using the applications, the platforms. So our big focus is consumer facing applications. This is how we believe that Web3 is going to be embraced by the masses, by the public, by retail. And what it means is that the lifestyle of the user needs to be improved because of Web3. The last few projects and bull markets that we've seen, it's all speculation based, and that's not really improving the lifestyle of people. If anything, it's actually probably creating significant deterioration of their lifestyle because they're losing money trading all these assets. So how do we improve the lifestyle of users? Well, we do that through gamification in general, just overall gamification via tokens, NFTs, but it's really going to come down to rewards, discounts, and incentives. That's going to be how we onboard users. And so building a whole game around these platforms that are fueled by the discounts, by the rewards, by the incentives, really overall loyalty. And then having points, and we're already seeing a lot of these NFT projects doing it. We saw Friendtech is really leading the way. Points is going to replace tokens, where points is going to be how people are it's almost like the engagement currency of a lot of these projects, a lot of these ecosystems. So the more that you're using a specific platform or an ecosystem, you're going to be earning points, and then these points can potentially allow you to trade them in for a discount. So this discount could be a free coffee at the local coffee shop, or free slice of pizza, or access to a nightclub, or potentially a raffle that allows you to have courtside seats to a basketball game. So it's really embracing both Web 2 and then utilizing Web 3 to fuel the adoption. So we see this as allowing businesses to benefit significantly in terms of engaging users and customers in a way that they haven't been able to engage with them before, allow customers and users to actually own these discounts, own these rewards, own these access, and also allow them, because they own it, to trade them on a secondary marketplace. So an example would be, let's say in New York City, there's all these nightclubs. A lot of these nightclubs have been significantly hurt because of COVID. So they're very eager to get people to go to their nightclub. There's significant amount of slots, let's say 20 slots open on any given Thursday, Friday, Saturday at some of these hottest nightclubs. We could take those, create NFTs out of them, and start airdropping them essentially into the wallets of users. And they don't even have to be obviously crypto users. They could be any users. They could be NYU students. They could be bankers. They could be artists, musicians. So it's harnessing the power of NFTs to enable users to get, let's say, access to a nightclub in New York where they don't have to pay cover. They might get a free drink or two, where it costs very little money for a nightclub to do that. And then now the user is getting a significantly upgraded lifestyle as a result, where it was initially very difficult to get into a nightclub. Now they can get into it by showing their NFT or showing, whatever access they got. And then they're also able to potentially trade that, where they can now trade it on secondary markets, sell it for $20, $50, $100, obviously whatever the market deems fit. They're gonna be able to sell it. And then what that enables is these nightclubs can then charge a royalty fee off of the trading volume. So now we're gonna have revenues that were never possible for these businesses start coming in. So now businesses are gonna become incentivized to continue to provide more incentives, continue to provide more discounts, rewards, access. And so it's a great feedback loop where businesses now, if you're making, I don't know, $10 million in volume, your NFTs are $10 million in volume monthly, and you're getting 10%, that's $1 million in revenue a month. I mean, that's insane. That's unheard of. And even obviously if it was lower, 100K, 10% is $10,000. That's very significant revenue source for basically spending barely any money, providing these discounts, these rewards. So we really see a big trend moving towards local activations, local focus. I think cities are a great example. I think universities are even better because universities are extremely compact. You have a very small area with 20, 30, 40, 50,000 students. They all want to eat, they all want to play, they all want to party, they all want to have a good time. And these businesses are very eager to not only get more customers, but also retain the current customers that they have. So we're very excited about this lifestyle trend. I don't think anybody's really doing it. There's obviously some infrastructure projects that are kind of beginning to tap into it, but it's been a very slow process. And so us as an advisory firm is understanding this trend and then bringing on board the right projects that see this vision and then start building relationships with the nightclubs, the restaurants, the bars, the museums, the parks. I mean, it's really going to allow users to have an experience like they've never had before. And it's not going to be expensive, because if you're getting a free slice of pizza at Joe's Pizza down the street, you're not going to go to Pizza Hut. You're going to go to Joe's Pizza and support them. And if the pizza is really good, you're going to keep going. And obviously Joe's Pizza is going to be incentivized to provide more value for that specific user. So I think what Web3 is enabling is cutting out the middleman, which is the advertiser, and connecting companies, businesses, services directly with the users, and being able to transact on a value basis between each other, and allow obviously the user to, if I'm getting a discount, let's say a discount for a free slice of pizza, if I don't want to eat the pizza, I can sell it for $1 or $2 or 50 cents. And I'm making some money or even points that I could then use for something else. So it's really, I think, bringing back the loyalty that went away the last few years in the world, where people are not loyal to their local businesses. They're more loyal to Walmart. They're more loyal to these large retail stores. And it's almost what we're seeing is we're going to see a rebellion where people are going to be more loyal to local businesses, and local businesses as a result are going to be able to expand, to scale, and to rapidly grow in a way that they've never been able to before because of Web3. So we're very excited about that, and definitely we're always looking for people to support us in this vision, and obviously us as an advisory firm moving full steam ahead to position our clients in the best way possible to take advantage of this trend that's going to be coming.
That is amazing. You provided some really incredible insights, especially for a lot of business owners. So if anybody watching this, you run a business, especially in more traditional sectors, this is definitely something to think about because this will drastically impact you and your business. So Nelson, thank you so much for sharing. Those are some incredible thoughts. I wanted to also pivot because, in the market today, I think AI is like the hottest narrative. Of course, ChatGPT kind of changed everything. We really see the powerful AI technologies that are available today. I mean, just this past week, you had big announcements from tech giants like Meta with their smart glasses with Ray-Bans to, ChatGPT upgrading to now you can surf the internet with it, no longer limiting to, data from 2021. Just a lot of things happening, right? And even Amazon investing into Entropics, a big AI startup, and supposedly their AI is going to be like 10 times better than what's existing in the marketplace today. So anyway, my point is there's a lot going on in AI, and people are also excited about the potential of the synergies between AI and crypto. Like, what are your thoughts here? How do you see this technology evolving, and what's in store for the future?
AI is definitely, I think there's a lot of hype, but obviously there is definitely a reason for the hype. It's an extremely exciting industry. Just using ChatGPT, you could see just the amount of time that is going to be saved. Where you saw Google with the search engine, it saved a lot of time where you didn't have to go to like a library. I mean, I never even did that. I was very lucky that, we didn't have to go to a library and look up information. That's just insane. You were able to search it on Google and find a couple of good hits. Now you're able to get whole reports, insights from a lot of these AI services, and basically for free. So it's definitely going to improve significantly on the productivity side. It's going to make, I think, the human much more productive. So I think for what we're seeing in terms of AI, I think, especially in the crypto space, it's going to be, I think a big focus is going to be on the social, how to magnify and expand the power of just community social. As we've seen with a lot of technology, it really takes off when you can have a social component. So we saw this with like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. I mean, it's all social based. A lot of these tech companies, it's social. It's everybody wants to be plugged in. Everybody wants to be updated on what their friends are doing, what's happening in the world. And so I think the way that we get the masses, the public, retail to really embrace AI is going to be integrating it on the social side. There's one of the projects that we have by the name of Zoe. They're building a Web3 messenger. What they're doing is they're collecting all the data, which goes through kind of ChatGPT, collecting all the data of influencers, and basically building a bot of that influencer. So if you want to talk to, I don't know, let's say like Donald Trump, you would have like a Donald Trump AI bot that would basically answer in the way that he would answer, and give you insights of obviously previous speeches, work that he's done, insights that he's had. So really what we're seeing is influencers, but not just influencers, individuals themselves. Like, you're going to be able to ask me questions. And then all the data, all the online data that I have put out there in the world is going to be able to provide insights into kind of what I would say. So I think this is going to be very big for influencers to expand their reach, because obviously influencers have millions, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people. Some even have obviously millions of followers. They don't have time to interact with all their fans. That's just impossible. But with these AI bots or with these AI functionalities, now one can build a pretty significant relationship with these AI bots, which now an idea that's giving me is you could then start to filter these relationships with the influencer. Not only just the influencer, but the individual. Because, imagine if I was talking to your AI bot and then we had a really good discussion, we had a really good connection. You should be notified of that. And then in being notified of that, maybe you want to actually reach out to me. Maybe you're like, hey, like Nelson, let's talk, like, let's connect. I'm in New York for coffee. Like, why don't we meet up? Because the AI bot is essentially telling you, hey, this is like a good connection to have. Like there was synergies, there was a connection here. So I think overall on the social side, we're going to be able to see like Facebook, but just magnified to another degree, where you're going to be able to connect with random people from all over the world, and the AI bot is basically going to filter the connections and give you basically the alpha, give you like the value of saying, hey, look, focus on these people, meet these people, talk to these people, build relationships with them. So on the Zoe side with the messenger, we're very excited about being able to provide this for influencers initially, because obviously influencers have all this content out there. Be able to enhance the relationship and connection between these influencers. And then eventually, I read some articles about that. If one was to die, you basically now, like your relatives, your friends can be able to communicate with you even after you die. Obviously, it sounds crazy, but if there's all this data that is being collected and this AI is very good at that, you're basically like almost going to be able to live artificially to some degree, and then eventually, I guess, start evolving and developing. Obviously, that's not going to be you, but the AI is getting to such a degree that it already kind of knows how you would react to the future, how you would react to situations. So we're very excited on the social side, and definitely for us, it's trying to figure out how do we plug it into crypto, to Web3. But I think it's going to be really kind of social focused.
Very, very cool. I mean, the speed to which innovation is happening is really mind-boggling, right? The compounding is happening so quickly. I don't even know what to expect, let's say, in 1 year's time. I mean, it really is crazy. So, but everything you said, it sounds very realistic now that we see the powers of AI. So really exciting to see what happens with that. Maybe, I wanted to ask just a couple more questions. I wanted to hear your thoughts on, what do you believe to be the biggest challenges in crypto and Web3 and really the adoption? Because of course you mentioned mass adoption is kind of the core focus of what you guys want. How can these challenges be overcome? What are your thoughts here?
It's people swallowing their ego. I think that's going to be a really big thing. There's a lot of people that made a lot of money in these bull markets, and they believe that because they made all this money that they know where the market is going, they know where the adoption is going to be, the go-to-markets. And if we're really being very honest, a lot of the people that made money again dumping on retail. And then the asset went down 90%. So it's almost like you were playing musical chairs and you just happened to be the one that was able to get out. Now that's still impressive. If there's I'm not doubting any of these people, but it's really like we have to be very realistic about what actually happened in these bull markets and not be putting people on the pedestal as if they know what they're doing when they just were able to, again, sell on retail. We need to judge people based on the longevity of the project. Can you get 10,000 daily active users and do it for a year consistently, or have some sort of growth like a Facebook, like an Instagram, like a Twitter? Obviously, I think we're still a ways away from that, but we have to realize that nobody really knows what the recipe is, what the mixture is in order to build successful crypto projects and crypto companies. And so that means we all have to swallow our ego and be very open to change, be very open to trying things out, taking risks. I think a lot of people in the space, because it's such a risky space, they don't actually take the risks that they should be taking. So if you're building in crypto, you're already building in a very risky space. So it's very easy to kind of just get bogged down in what is everyone else doing, and let's just like play it safe. Let's get listed on exchanges. Like let's run some like marketing campaigns to get a lot of followers. But you have to take more risk. It's not enough to be building in the space. You have to take more risk and more risk. And because we're in such a new, just like AI, we're in such a new industry that you're going to, every single day, you're going to have to wake up and take more risk and hope that risk that you're taking is calculated enough where it's going to be successful for you. So I think it's really, we all collectively have to just realize that this space is constantly changing and be very, very open to adapting and really taking advantage of the opportunities that exist. And this is what I love about the space, that you could basically be a nobody today and within 6 months, 3 months, a year, be the person at the top, going into these exclusive events, talking in front of tens of thousands of people, or you could also be at the top, completely untouchable, like Sam Bankman-Fried, and then be basically in a jail cell tomorrow, going to court to face up to 150 years in prison. The crypto space will humble you if you don't humble yourself. And that's not to say that obviously people should be humble. I mean, obviously it's good to be humble, but it's not for people to be humble, but it's that what crypto is pushing people to do is to go through a spiritual initiation. That's what's really happening. There's a spiritual initiation happening. And if you get too greedy, if you get too focused on the money, you get too focused on just like doing whatever it takes to make money, it's going to come back to haunt you. But if you come here into the space to build genuine relationships, to support interesting projects, to find the go after the curiosity, the passion that you're after, and you don't really focus so much on the money side, it's going to work out. Things are going to work out. You're going to find the right people. You're going to join the right projects, the right companies, the right ecosystems. And so I think it's really letting go of the deep attachment that the crypto space has for money and focusing more on the value. What is the value add that you can provide? How do you build your value? How do you build your skill sets? How do you build your network? And knowing that, and having faith, again, it goes back to faith, having faith that it's going to be provided for. So I think that's something that the crypto space will discover in this bear market, and every bear market is going to bring these things back. It's like, a bear market really is an assessment of how you did in the bull market. And that's not just to say in terms of financially, it's like spiritually, how did you do in this bull market? And the bear market's always going to show for that.
Absolutely right. I mean, I certainly learned a lot about myself through this last bear market. I've been in crypto for 5 years now, so I've been through a whole cycle, and it definitely was very eye-opening for myself, not just financially, but also the lessons learned. And so moving forward, I'm definitely going to take a lot of these lessons with me to better prepare myself for the future. So those are some incredible insights. Once again, thank you so much for sharing. Where can people find you? Where can people find more information about Lightno Media, what it is that you guys do? Please enlighten us.
For sure. Yeah. You can check us out at lightnomedia.com. That's our website. You could also message me on Telegram at my full name, Nelson Merchan. And then you could also find me on Twitter, nmerchanjr, on X or Twitter. But I think the best place to reach me would be Telegram for sure. And that's my full name.
Awesome. Nelson, thank you so much for an amazing conversation. Are there any last remarks you'd like to share with the audience?
Get into the space. I mean, this is the best. The bear market is the most amazing time to get in the space. While everyone is running away from the space, this is when you want to get in, start doing research, helping people, and providing value without expecting anything in return. Like if you have to spend 1 or 2 hours a day or just a few hours a week helping a project that you're interested in, do it for free. And do it because you love it, because you're passionate about it, because you're curious about it, and you will reap the rewards for doing that. I think a lot of people in this space just wait around for like the right job to come about, and if you work for free, and I actually, it's funny because I started working at Lightno Media for free, like I was just kind of volunteering, helping on the event side. It's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off because what you're building your skill set. And in crypto, building your skill set has to be done. And why not do it now in a bear market when a lot of these projects need your help? They need help. They're interested in, they're receptive to your help. So you could be somebody that knows nothing about crypto, and within just a few months of working a few hours a week, be very knowledgeable in a specific space, in a specific sector. And then that's where you really accelerate your own personal development as well as obviously professional growth.
Love that, Nelson. Thank you once again. Incredible insights. And that is it from us. Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.